Uh, all right. I'm gonna do something a little different tonight. I want to react to this brother that he recently subscribed to my channel, and I subscribed to his. And tonight I wanted to do like to redo my notes. Like if I ever were to debate like you know, a Pharisee Israelite camp on the street, that I can prove to them that I know what I'm talking about proving that, you know, that Esau is not the white man, and I can prove that it's actually Saudi Arabia. And you know, and I have debated before, but I think my notes do need some tweaking. So like, as you know, I don't know everything, right? I don't know everything, but I know enough. But I would like to react to this man's video, this brother's video, and maybe I can tweak my notes and see if I can add them into my notes. And I would like to rearrange them, and you know, like you know, I would, like when I'm debating, I would like to snatch somebody's head, like get their attention, basically, like metaphorically, like snatch their head off with the word, and so it'll just be better, you know. Like, so it'll just knock them out completely, like, and you know, and I wanna hook them in, then I go for the killing blow, you know, metaphorically, of course, with the word of Yah here, and let's see here, is. And you know, and my original notes up here, I thought I'd just do something different. I'm gonna show you how do I do my notes and stuff. Like my original notes. Here's my original notes about, you know, Japheth. Here we have Japheth here, and we have Esau here. Here's my Esau notes here. Like I started off with the Gaza prophecy and everything, and I was just wanting to try something a little different this time. Okay, I definitely need to. I ain't gonna lie to you guys. My notes just need a little tweaking here. So, the first thing I want to do is go down here. So we're going to copy that, and we're going to put that under here. So I thought I would start off with War Scroll, because War Scroll is a document that, well, it was it's from the Dead Sea Scrolls, and it was found in 1947, right? But they didn't open them until to 1990. What was it? 97, I think. It was in 1997 when they finally opened the Dead Sea Scrolls, and there was a book in there called War Scroll, and it talks about the sons of Japheth and how the Yah is going to destroy them, and it actually called them the sons of darkness. And I think I should start off with that. 'Cause, one of my subscribers suggested I start off with that whenever I'm debating, so I agree. I'm going to agree to that. Yeah, I'm going to start off with that. Okay. And let's try it. We're going to start off with there. So we got War Scroll chapter 1, 3 through 10 here. I'm gonna move that. I'm gonna go to hit enter. Let's see. Let's go back to Japheth. Maybe I put some more detail in there. Yeah, this is some more detail about the sons of Japheth, aka Europeans, you know. Because Yah's gonna deal with white supremacy once and for all at the end of after the 1,000-year reign, because there ain't no other person that this could be, because it's like it nails it. Okay, let me copy that. I'm gonna go here. So if I was debating like one of those camps, those that's out there that's trying to say that Esau is the white man, and I'm trying to prove that Esau's actually Saudi Arabian, that the one they call the white man is actually Japheth, how do you do this? Okay. All right, so we got War Scroll 1, 3 through 10. And I think also what we would like to put there is yeah, definitely. You got to start off strong. And one of my problems is when I'm debating people, I often try to build, like to try to make it dramatic, and you know, instead of just started off the bat like real strong, like hitting them with the. So that's what I'm gonna do here. So let me see. Copy that. I'm going to paste. So we got Japheth, father of the KKK. Father of white people. Okay, and then we're going to copy. Alright folks, so we got that. So I'm gonna copy this and we're gonna put that right here. Paste. Oops, that's the wrong one. Sorry about that. Let me delete that. Go to Japheth. Okay, I'm gonna go copy. Go paste. Yeah, and after I put the Esau main point about Esau there, because I got to start off strong with it's no doubt when I'm debating on this. So I think there ain't nothing more stronger than the. Hold up, where is it? Is the mark of the beast? And there ain't nothing more stronger than the mark of the, like starting off with the mark of the beast that proves that Esau is definitely Saudi Arabia. And we know this because we have you can find Allah's name in Revelation 13:18. So that's that. I need to start off real strong, like right here. I mean, it just cannot be denied. Well, let me go here first. We're gonna go copy, and we're gonna go right here. We're gonna hit spacebar. We're gonna hit enter, and we're gonna put this. Okay. And to top it off, we're gonna do this. I'm never using that again. Okay, here we go. Copy. And we're gonna paste that right here. All right. It cannot be denied. Now that is very polarizing when you look at this. I mean, this right on the nose. I'm amazed how easily Yah made this, right? It's so simple. So we're gonna do this and go save. Okay. Now for all right, we got it, and here we go. Oh yeah. See if I can learn anything.
How are you doing on this special day? Keeping your melody in a special way.
Y'all make sure you subscribe to this brother here.
We are keeping Yahuwah. Behold,
Just anxious to get to the teaching.
Our Black History report, I just thought. Do our Black History.
Oh no, I can't hear it. Hold up.
Okay, so today the
Oh, let me go turn my fan off. I'll be right back.
Black History is pre-recorded today. So we're going to go ahead and run the tape on that, and then we're going to go into the intro of our lesson. All right? So turn turn your attention to our pre-recorded Black History Month quotes. All right. This is our Black History segment where we read from a quote for the Black History Month. All right. Now, there you go. Our first reading is going to be from the History and Description of Africa, Volume 1, page 31 and 32. The Abyssinians have no great knowledge of Nilus by reason of the mountains which divide them from it, for which cause they call Abagni the father of rivers. Howbeit, they say upon the Nilus do inhabit two great and populous nations, one of the Jews towards the west under the government of a mighty king, and the other more southerly consistent of Amazons or warlike women, whereof we will speak more at large in our recollection of Monotapa. Okay. So that one there is basically showing you that the Ethiopians said on the other side of the Nile were Hebrews. Leo Africanus used the terminology Jew, right? But he said Hebrews. There were Hebrews on the other side of the Nile. Okay. Our next quote is going to come from the same book, Volume 1, but this time we're going to read page 127. So we can go to Volume 1 and page 127. Okay. Let's see if I can blow this up. These, it says, moreover, the land of Negroes is divided into many kingdoms, whereof, albeit a great part be unknown unto us, and removed far out of our trade. We will notwithstanding make relation of those places where we ourselves have abroad, and which by long experience are grown very familiar unto us, as likewise of some other places from whence merchants used to travel into the same cities, where myself was then resident from, whom I learned right well the state of their countries. He says, I myself saw 15 kingdoms of Negroes. Howbeit, they are many more than although I saw not with my own eyes, yet are they by the Negroes sufficiently known and frequented. And he goes and tells the names of those kingdoms that he saw, right, in Negroland. So, as we've been saying long ago, that we came from kings and queens in the land that's called Negroland. Okay? Now, we're going to read the next quote.
Negroland.
The next quote is the History and Description of Africa, Volume 3.
It's and as y'all know, Negroland, since he mentioned Negroland, it's real. I love doing this, like, to prove that, you know, black people are the Israelites of the Bible. Not all black people, but just the ones that were scattered on the slave ships. I like if you go to loc.gov, which is Library of Congress of the United States of America's official website. Is loc.gov, and you type in Negro Land in the search engine, and you click the second result. When you click the second result, and you zoom in on the west coast map of Africa, you'll see Kingdom of Judah spelled out on the slave coast. As it what word am I looking for? As it confirms Zephaniah 3:10. So I just thought I'd just say that right there. Let's see. And this brother is Elder Charles E. Cotton. And y'all please go subscribe to him. So because he's good at what he does, and he knows his stuff. And there's also another it's one of my other subscribers I have. His name is Light Unto the Gentiles. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe to him as well, because he has a lot of good material as well. So I look forward to reacting to his video too, maybe next week if I can.
And we're going to go to History and Description of Africa, Volume 3. Okay? And this is on page 1004. Okay? It says, let's blow this up so you can see it. It says, the Jews who have been dispersed by Yah, it says God here, but I'm retranslating it, throughout the whole world to confirm us in the set apart faith, entered into Ethiopia in the queen of Saba's dairies, in companion of the son that Shalomo had by her. To the number set the Assyrians, Abyssins, affirm of 12,000, and there multiplied their generation exceedingly, in that they not only filled Abyssia, but spread themselves likewise all over the neighborhood provinces. So that at this day also the Abyssinians affirm that upon the Nilus towards the west, their inhabitants a most populous nation of Jewish stock.
Ooh, further proof that the Jews were black. Love it.
And some of our modern cosmographers set down a province in those quarters which they call the land of the Hebrews.
Whoa. Pow. Yeah.
Land of the Hebrews.
Exactly.
As it were under the equinoctial in certain unknown mountains between the confines of Abyssinia and the Congo. He says, and likewise on the north part of the kingdom of Goemi and the southerly quarter of the kingdom of Gorham, there are certain mountains people with Jews, who their main time themselves free and absolute, though the inaccessible situations of the same. For in truth, by this means, the inhabitants of the mountains, speak generally, are the most ancient and freest people, in that the strong situation of their native soil secureth them from the incursions of foreign nations and the violence of their neighbors, such as the Scots in Britain and the Biscaynes in Spain. But to return again to our purpose, the Anzinki, right? Who extend from the banks of the river Zaire even to the confines of Nubia, use circumcision as also diverse other bordering people do, a thing that must necessarily have been brought in by the Jews, and yet remaining still in use after the annihilation of the Mosaical law amongst them. Okay. So now, Leo Africanus is telling you that Esau, never mind what these Christian apologists try to tell you. Leo Africanus, who lived on the 1400s, said he saw Jews in Africa. Not in the 19th century, as they try to tell us. Oh, nobody knew about black people being Hebrew until the 19th century. Leo Africanus in the 1400s said that the Abyssinians told him that they were Jews, in the land of the Hebrews.
All right, up in Africa.
All right. Let's go to our next quote. This one is Black Hebrews. This one is entitled, I should say, Travels of Ludovico di Vatama in Egypt. Okay? And he wrote in 1500, between 1503 and 1508. Okay? And we're going to go to page 19 through 24. I'm going to read a little bit. Okay? All right. He says, and when we traveled 12 days, we found the valley of Sodom and Gomorrah. Verily, the scriptures do not lie, for one sees how they are destroyed by a miracle of Yah. And I say that there are 3 cities which were on the top of the 3 mountains, and around them of the height of 3 or 4 cubits is still seen what appears to be blood, like red wax mixed with earth, of a truth. I believe upon what I have seen that they were a wicked people, for all around the entire country in desert and barren, and the earth produces no one thing nor water, and they lived upon manna and were punished for not acknowledging the benefits they received, and by miracle everything is still seen in ruin. Then we passed the valley, which was at least 20 miles.
So yeah, see that's what the name of that book right there is that he's reading from. That's the Travels of Ludovico di Vardama in Egypt, Syria, Arabia, Deserta, and Arabia Felix in Persia, India, and Ethiopia, 1503 to 1508. So if y'all want to check out those sources to prove case, you just go there, prove the case.
Okay, let's skip down to page 22. It says the chapter concerning a mountain inhabited by Jews. At the end of 8 days, we found a mountain which appeared to be 10 or 12 miles in circumference, in which, in which mountain there dwell 4,000 and 5,000 Jews, who go naked and are in height 5 and 6 spans, and have a feminine, I think it says, feminine voice, and are more black than any other color.
Whoa.
They live entirely upon the flesh of sheep and eat nothing else. They are circumcised and confess that they are Jews.
Wow.
And if they can get a Moor into their hands, they skin him alive.
What the?
Sound like the Hebrews was fighting against the Moab. That's Moab right there. Moab is not China and Japan. Moab is the Moors.
Yeah, right? Moab ain't China and Japan. Hold up, let me say. Yeah, Moab ain't China and Japan. When you read the when it says they are where the verse where it says they are confederate against thee, this is up in and it says Esau and the Ishmaelites. Then it goes and names the rest of the nations, right? And you notice that when you're naming off all these nations, those are all Muslim nations. Like Like, and then they try to make Amalek, Amalek was mentioned. They try to make Amalek Esau. Like, that don't make sense. I think all those are Muslim nations. When you go through, like you see the Palestinians, Philistine. You have Esau and Ishmael because Esau got together and married Ishmael's daughter. Then you have all these other. You have all these other things falling into place. Like why would you have all these Muslim nations? Then all of a sudden, randomly, you have Moab, who's is Chinese and Japanese. That don't make no sense. All Moab and all those are Muslim. All that stuff is Muslim. And that's the 10-headed beast right there. That's your 10-headed beast right there. Because it said they have one mind, one consent, which is Islam. But let me don't go off here. I don't want to be ranting too much. So
the Hebrews were fighting against the Moors. Watch what he says. Says that they, at foot and on sand mountains, we found a tank of water. Let me back up for a second. All right. They are circumcised and confess that they are Jews, and if they can get a Moor into their hands, they skin him alive. At the foot of the said mountain, we found a tank of water, which is water that falls into the rainy season. We loaded with the said water 16,000 camels, whereat the Jews were ill pleased, and they went about that mountain like wild goats, and on no account would they descend into the plain, because they are mortal enemies of the Moors. So see, we're not the Moors, right? Some of my brothers here in America want to say we the Moors. We're not the Moors. We're the enemies of the Moors. Psalm talks about the enemies of Yah has said, come, let us cut them off from being a people, that the name Israel may be no more in remembrance. So that's who our enemies was. They are the ones that stole us. They are the ones that took us, sold us into the hands of the so-called Gentiles.
The white man, yeah.
All right. Prayerfully you got something out of that. All right. Shalom, shalom, shalom. All right, so that was our Black History presentation. I'm going to edit a little music. I want to do the national anthem. Lift up your voice and sing, till earth and heaven ring. Till earth and heaven ring with harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let us resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing a rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. I'm gonna do a little track there instead of me playing the beat. So if I get some time this week, I'm gonna do that. So y'all, I'm working with what I got, working with the time I got. I'm working 14 hours a day, so I don't have a whole lot of time to prepare a lesson and prepare a track and all of that, and get up the next day and start all over again. So y'all, bear with me as I get the bugs out. Like I said, I did the soundtrack. I wanted the soundtrack to be clear. I didn't have actually, it was spontaneous. So as time permits and I get the bugs out, and our stream's gonna be better and better and better. As you can see, I have background going, have better lighting and stuff that I had sitting in my closet. Pulled it out because we are broadcasting. We want it to be as crystal clear as live, audio, video, a whole 9 yards. Right. So I was looking at the comment like Gentile. Right. Too many books that shows that the Moors are at odds with us. And we're going to break some stuff down in our lessons in the future.
Yeah, I heard a lot about the Moors, but I never really studied it, so I'm very interested in learning more through this brother right here.
China
So.
and Japan. Can't be. How could China be Moab, which Moab is the Moors? And if you ask any more scientists, they'll tell you the Moors are the Moabites.
Oh, I didn't know that. So the Moors are Moab. I didn't. Now that's very interesting. The Moors are Moab. Yeah. Maybe I need to type that down right quick. Y'all give me a second. So let me. Arabs. The Moabites are the Moors. Oh, I did not know that. See, it's always good to learn more, you know, because I don't know everything. I'll be the first to tell you, so I'm always willing to learn more, you know. Let's go.
Full of the faith that the darkness had taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present had brought us. Facing a rising sun of our new day begun. Let us. Are y'all ready for this? I need a drum roll. One West Camp.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, call them out.
I need a drum roll and a cymbal. I gotta get that in my clip. I needed that roll right there. But One West Camp and all their daughters, IUIC is the biggest of them now, so they gonna get the plug today. You know, guys.
Let's see what you got. Let's see what you got.
They kind of changed some of their teachings on that. Sakari Camp, Great Millstone. I know them all. I go way back with them. I remember they used to be subscribed on my original channel.
Wow.
They won't say that they were. Because who was the biggest teacher that Esau was the so-called white man? And I didn't know those guys. And when I hear a lot of their doctrine, I listen, I say, wow, I used to teach that. And I remember those guys were subscribed to my channel. And when I did a teaching called Esau, Edom, and Idumea, people was asking me to put that teaching on a disc. Back during the days when people were getting discs. That shows you how old it is, right? People was getting that on the disc because they were so convinced that Esau was the white man, especially from me and from other sources that taught that, right?
Wow.
So, the One West Camp is the biggest promulgator of that doctrine, right? And indirectly, I'm partially responsible for that doctrine as well as some others, right? I'm not saying that I invented it, I'm not saying that I started it, but
so he had, wow, this brother's pretty humble. He admits that he was teaching false doctrine at one point about the Esau thing, and he's actually teaching. Oh, that's really dope, though. He's actually admitting it, and he's I mean, that shows he has true wisdom. Like we should admit that when we were wrong and we correct ourselves. I think it takes some strength to do that, you know.
Let's rotate. All right, shalom, brothers and sisters. I am going to do this video lesson. This is actually pre-recorded, so this is Shabbat Eve, and I'm going to do this segment pre-recorded so that I can concentrate on the lesson. So I'm going to present to you the chief leader of the IUIC organization, by the name of Bishop Nathaniel. And watch what he says in this video. And this is why the camps are indoctrinated with the false teaching of Esau. Listen to his common sense.
Okay.
For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth.
Esau is the last ruling empire. That's what he says. That's what it means. For Esau is the end of the world.
So he says that Esau is the last ruling empire. Now, what he is saying is based on his base text from 2nd Ezra, which is what he read. Esau is the end of the world. Okay. Now, you got to watch the lesson from last week. We already covered that the last 2 weeks. 2nd Ezra came 100 AD, right? So it came right at the time when the Jewish Talmudists started teaching that Esau was wrong. So it's suspect. Okay. So what we want to ask is there any place in the biblical text and prophecy that states that Esau, right, would be ruling at the end of time? Okay. So we're going to prove to you in this lesson that the prophecies is not about Esau, the brother of Yaakov, who is a Hebrew or Shemitic. But the prophecy is about the Gentiles, who are the sons of Japheth, which is the fourth beast, that have no Hebrew, no Shemitic DNA at all. From all of the standpoints that you look at those people who you say are Esau.
Yeah.
They don't have any connection to
Right.
us as a people.
Yeah, they don't have E1, B1.
DNA-wise,
For you to be an Israelite, you have to have E1, B1A DNA. And what, like he said, Japheth ain't got nothing to do with us. Or who they call, or what everybody knows as Japheth, right? They don't have, which is the Europeans. They have, their DNA doesn't match ours, so they can't be Esau. They don't have Shemitic blood.
Craniology wise, which is studying the skulls, historically wise, prophetically wise, right? And geographically wise, they have no connection to us as a people. Okay. So to use that as your base verse to support that is a weak argument. And we're going to show you in this lesson why it's a weak argument. What I want to say is that for you to comprehend who Esau is, you got to know who the nations are, who the sons are. And when you study Genesis chapter 10, Genesis chapter 10 will allude to who is going to be ruling in the last days. It's not going to be Esau. Okay? I'm going to give you the answer, and then I'm going to explain it to you. I'm going to prove it to you. In the end, who's going to be ruling the world is the Gentiles, a.k.a. Gog, Magog, Gomer, and all his bands. Okay. And we're going to prove that in this lesson. So let's go back into the clip, and I'm going to pause it again at another segment, and we're going to explain to you why this doctrine is wrong and why this doctrine needs to be destroyed. Okay.
When you hear some people out there, you hear some Israelites say, no, Esau is the Arabs. No, that's wrong.
Now, in this lesson, We're not going to deal so much with the Arab, who the Arabs are, because when you comprehend, Bishop Nathaniel, what an Arab is, you will understand or comprehend that we are Arabs as well. And Arab, from the dynamic of the Hebrew word, just means a mixed people.
Mixed people. Yep.
When Israel came out of Mizraim, aka Egypt, the scriptural text says we came out of mixed multitude. Okay? So what does that mean? We began to intermingle and intermarry with the Hamitic stock. We never stopped doing that from the beginning of the formation of the nation. The father of the tribe that we say that the so-called Negroes in North America are a part of intermarried with Canaanite women. That is an error. So when you look at Yosef, who married an Egyptian woman, that's called a mixed people or an Arab, right? Now you have Arabs, and I'm going to say this, and we're going to show it to you in this lesson. When you look at the place where the ark settled, the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, intermingled and intermarried at that stage of the game. So you have a lot of crossing over. So that Arab mix was a mixture of the different sons who intermarried into each other. Okay? Now, let's go back to the tape.
That's wrong. Because if Esau's the Arabs, that means we got to go into captivity again.
So, no. He said that if Esau is the Arabs, that means that we're going to go back into captivity again. No, it does not. We're going to show you this lesson. Who is going to be judged? And I gave you the answer already. Esau has a judgment on him, and all the other nations have judgments pronounced on them. But also, the nations that are ruling at the end is not Esau, right? But it is the oldest brother. When we look at how that in the biblical text in the days of old, the youngest brother served first, right? Ham is classified as the youngest brother. He served first. He ruled the nations first. Then Shem ruled the nations under King Shlomo. And then last but not least, the oldest brother, who was supposed to, according to the protocol of family, was supposed to rule the earth first. He got the last rule, which was the longest rule, the sons of Japheth. Okay? Scriptural text tells us that Yah shall enlarge Japheth, and he will dwell in the tents of Shem. So as we go into this lesson, we're going to break it down so that even a newborn baby can comprehend.
Heck, I use Blue's Clues levels, pictures, the imagery to prove my case about the who Esau is. But we'll talk about that some other time.
And that make no damn sense. The hell wrong with you? The Bible says Esau will go to the moon. I don't see no damn Arabs going up there. The hell is wrong with you? That's why some of these Israelites don't listen to them. Saying some of you women are all over the place. You listen to everybody. Just
now, notice what he said. Let me back this up again. Notice what he said here.
The Bible says Esau will go to the moon. I don't see.
The Bible said that Esau would go to the moon. Can you see how people are confused? The Bible says that Esau.
They try to use that about the prophecy about the eagle exalting yourself, the eagle amongst the stars and stuff. I seen a video, even though I believe this brother here is a false. He's a false teacher. He's what you call it? He basically a Pharisee. His name Jadash the prophet. But I have to admit, though, he was right on this, though, when he was talking. When he actually showed a video of Arabs exalting themselves with the eagles up in Saudi Arabia. So y'all wasn't talking about like going to outer space, okay?
Where can we read that at in the biblical text? That the Bible says Esau will go to the moon. Okay? Now, I want to share something with you before we go into the lesson. 2 Peter chapter 2 and verse 1 and 20 says, let's read verse 19. It says, we have also a more sure word of prophecy, whereunto you do well that you take heed as unto a light that shineth in a dark place, until the day dawn, and the day star arise in your hearts. Knowing this first, that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. But it says, for the prophecy came not in old time, by the will of man, but set apart Kodesh men of Yah spake as they were moved by the Ruach Kodesh. Okay. So, what Brother Nathaniel is doing is he is making the prophecies of private, personal interpretation. Because the scripture does not say Esau will be ruling in the last days. Neither does it say that Esau would go to the moon. But Bishop Nathaniel is teaching his camp that Esau is going to go to the moon and that Esau will be ruling in the last days, and we can't find it nowhere in the biblical text. That's false teaching, that's camp doctrine that is not sound in any form, fashion, or shape. But the camps believe that, and the camps hold to that as infallible truth. Okay? So, no. All right? The scripture does not say Esau is going to go to the moon. All right? Now, what the camps do is they take a verse from here, and a verse from here, and a verse from here, and they use the biblical text that says precept upon precept, right? And they call that precept. When it's not precept, it's actually grabbing a verse from here and there to make a doctrine to support your doctrine, to support your camp doctrine. And that is way off sync of what the Most High instructed us as teachers of Yah's truth to be. Right? Line upon line, meaning it doesn't mean jump here and there, over there, and other place. It means line upon line. The line has to line up. Right? Comprehending what the Most High is saying in the now to those people at that time. Would the Israelites have believed that though you plant your nest above the stars is talking about Esau going to the moon? Would they have believed that? I don't think they would have believed that. Mm-hmm. To them, they comprehended that meant planting your nest above the stars, meaning that you're going to try to be like the people, the oppressors. Just like we see today in our world society, right? People get a job, go to corporate America, and what do? A lot of people who are quote unquote black, if they could pass for white, they'll perm their hair, because I had a sister that did that. She said she was black like me. But she permed her hair and she fixed herself up because she was light skinned. so that she could pass for being white, so that she could get promoted in the white circles. And that's what that text is talking about. Though you plant your nest above the stars. Okay. That's what that's talking about. That's not talking about 2,000 years later or more, Esau or the astronauts going to the moon and planting a flag on the moon. But that's what Nathaniel is teaching to his camp. And that's what they hold as an infallible truth. Okay, let's go back to the video.
No damn Arabs going up there. The hell is wrong with you? That's why some of these Israelites don't listen to them. Saying some of you women are all over the place. You listen to everybody, just simple as hell. When you get caught up in the mood of foolishness, shame on you. Stop listening to them. You're going to get lost in the sauce.
So, it seems like to me that they're lost in the sauce by listening to that false representation of text.
I agree.
That is a poor excuse.
I agree.
An Israelite trying to be a priest to the nations, to empower the nations to come under the bonds of the covenant, right? So with that said, I'm going to stop there, and we're going to get into the lesson for today. All right, so the source of confusion is the One West Camp Doctrine, who teaches that Esau is the so-called white man who is going to be ruling in the last time on the basis of 2nd Ezra, which says Esau is the end of the world. Now, that is suspect because, number one, 2nd Ezra, the record of it being written doesn't come until after the Romans besieged Jerusalem in 70 AD. Okay? So it was around that time when the rabbinic Talmudic teachers began to teach that Esau was wrong. It was not before, right? They didn't teach that before. That was a new teaching. Now I'm going to show you something real quick. This is a page, right, from a book entitled I think it's called God's Little Book.
Let me type that down right quick just in case. Sounds kind of interesting. God's Little Book.
The keys to the Bible is called the Little Book. Okay? I'll give you a link for it. It's called the Little Book. Keys to the Bible and Heaven by Ludwig Larson. And this is the source of the One West Camp doctrine of Esau being the so-called white man. Now, I'm going to get back into it. I'm going to show you, but I'm going to show you the source. We're talking about the source of the doctrine, right? Using their source.
One West Doctrine.
They don't want nobody to know about this. I know about this source.
One West Doctrine comes from.
Was a part of the camp.
One West Doctrine comes.
And it was some years later that I saw a video. I said, oh, that's the book. Okay. It's called The Little Book. Right? So now, if you look at this chart on the screen, you will see this is page 60 of the Key to the Bible in Heaven, the little book, right? You have in the top column generations, disciples, tribes, nations, signs, man, house, months, gems, and hours, right? So now let me say this here before I go further. The camps believe in reincarnation.
What
You
the?
know that?
I think I did hear that before too.
Y'all know
About the
camps
I
believe
thought I
in
heard that.
reincarnation, right? They believe in reincarnation.
Well, that's like something from Buddhists.
Now
Man.
they might not speak on it today,
Dang, I'm learning a lot.
but the founding fathers
Them Pharisee camps
of
or
the
something
camps
else.
believe in reincarnation.
Dang, that sounds so
Matter of fact,
goofy.
their leaders are supposed to be reincarnations of biblical people. Where did they get that from? Look at the chart. Adam is supposed to be a reincarnation of Simon Peter. Right? And so the nation that Adam is supposed to represent is France. Right? Kawa, the mother, is supposed to be what? Mother England. Abel is supposed to be. Now, interesting. Let me back up here for a second. Kawa, who they call Eve, is supposed to be a reincarnation of Andrew.
Dang.
Like our mother.
How in the world they come up with that?
Abel.
Yeah, they just pull it out their butt. What's going on here?
James of Zebulun and Scandinavia. Seth is supposed to be John, Yochanan and Mercer, Issachar, and Holland and Belgium. Enos is supposed to be Philip, a tribe of Judah, and Germany. Okay. So did you know? So so when they say the Jews, that's the reason why the descendants of Gomer. We're gonna talk about that in this lesson. So y'all stay tuned because I'm gonna get real deep. Okay. The Gomer is supposed to be Gomer and all his bands. Right. That's who the people who are posing to be Israel are. Gomer and his bands, included in that is Ashkenaz. Okay.
Ashkenaz.
So, they're not Esau by any form, fashion, or shape. They're Gomer, right? Let's go back in. So they're saying that Germany is Judah, the lion, right? You got all this over here, the heart, Leo. So these are signs. These zodiac. It's connected to the zodiac signs, right? Canaan is supposed to be Bartholomew from the tribe of Naphtali. He represents Turkey.
How on earth did they come to these conclusions?
Matthew.
What evidence did they? Supposed evidence they tried.
Matthew's supposed to be reincarnation of Mahalalel, which represents Greece. Jared, Thomas, which represents Austria from the tribe of Dan. Enosh, Yaakov, or James, Reuben is supposed to be Spain. So, according to them, the Sephardic Jews are Reuben. You can't make this stuff up, brothers and sisters. Look, y'all better tell these camp guys to come on in here and refute this stuff that I'm bringing out, because I'm bringing out their sources. All right.
Dang.
Now, so Jared, Dan, Austria, Enoch, Yaakov, Reuben, Spain, Methuselah, Thaddeus, right? Gad, Russia. Okay? So Gad is supposed to be Russia. Okay. Now.
Wait a second. They said Gad supposed to be Russian, but they said Gad was the Native Americans. When actually they're Asians, but we get into that later.
Levi, which is Switzerland. And Noah, right, is supposed to be Yehudis Iscariot, Benjamin, Italy, right? Now, I'm going to play another clip. I just wanted to get your appetite wet. We can go back into that book. I'm going to show you where this Esau stuff came from. Esau, they flipped the script because these teachers taught that Esau was the black race.
Whoa, what?
Wait a minute.
Now it's starting to get a little complicated. What? What? Contradiction.
They taught that Esau was the black race. Just like the One West camp teach that Esau is the white race, the white supremacists taught that Esau, and I have some other references I'm not going to be able to cover today. That's why I got to buy my book, because I'm going to have a lot of stuff that I can't put in this video. Too much stuff. Where they actually attached the curse of Ham to all black people.
Yeah, the Cain trying to say we were the
Okay.
the
But back to the
Canaanites.
little book.
I proved that
In
they
the little
y'all was
book,
talking
they
about the
basically
Palestinians.
make all of the white nations Israel. That's the exact opposite what the camps did. They took all of the teachings from the European supremacists called Anglo-Israelism. You ever heard of that?
Yeah, I had somebody
They flipped
that,
it,
yeah.
and they made all black people Esau.
Dang.
Okay? Including the Native American Indians. Okay. So we're going to get back into that. Now, I have another clip that I got to play, right? This is another favorite teacher right here. I don't know if he still teaches this, but he's got one of the biggest channels that people tune into. He's got one of the largest subscriber bases on the internet. He's bigger as far as his subscribers than One West, than IUIC. Okay. And that's none other than Watchmen Reports. Watchmen Reports. Okay? We're going to play this clip and let's go. Now, if you look at the screen, you will see that I neglected to actually address this in the last video. This is the Watchman Report. He actually teaches the same thing as the camps from a different angle. And let me play this clip here, and then we're going to get to the lesson.
Okay.
The book of Jasher tells you that the children of Chittim saw the valor of Zepho, and they made Zepho king over them, and he subdued the children of Tubal and all the surrounding islands. Who are the children of Tubal? Tubal was one of the sons of Japheth or Japheth. Jasher.
So now watch what he's going to say. You gotta pay close attention, because he's going to say something that I used to teach, which is wrong. Okay? Let's continue.
Makes it clear that Esau's grandson not only conquered Tubal, but all the surrounding islands of Japheth.
So see, look at the at the
Esau conquered
video.
Japheth.
You'll see he has all the sons of Japheth. So can you see why we are misinformed? Because that's guesswork. Using Jasher to sanction or to support Esau is the white man. Okay. So look at, you got Madai, Ashkenaz, Meshach, Togarmah, Tubal, Riphath, Gomer, Tyrus. Now watch what he says in this next part.
Japheth. He took over their land and totally subdued the sons of Japheth.
So he said Japheth took over the land and Wait, hold on, back that up again.
Japheth. He took over their land and totally subdued the sons of Japheth.
So he said Japheth. That's what I thought he said. But what he's saying is Esau subdued all the sons of Japheth. And watch what he says here.
The book of Joshua 61. And their king Zepho went at their head, and they made war with Tubal and the islands, and they subdued them. But when they returned from the battle, they renewed his government for him, and they built for him a very large palace for his royal habitation and seat, and they made a large throne for him. And Zepho reigned over the whole land of Chittim, and over the land of Italia 50 years. There are a few historical indications that need to be taken into account. The children of Edom, or Esau, literally intermarried with the Italians, mixed with them, and they became one people. Thus Esau also stands identified as the people of Italy. Once the Edomites distorted the true teachings of the early believers, he began to deceive and take on the identity of other people, and rewrite history. There is the prophetic statement by the prophet Amos seems to shadow a strong affinity between Tyre and Edom.
Okay, so now, I'm going to stop there. I'm not going to go further. I'm going to get a copyright claim, but I'm doing this for edification purposes. So,
Okay.
this segment might not be monetized because of that reasoning. Okay, I get that. So, I'm going to go ahead and address that. So, basically, the teaching is that Esau became wrong. And it goes in connection with Joshua chapter 9. Okay, so I want to show you something real quick in Joshua chapter 9. So he talks about Zepho, but then now here's the punchline. If we go to chapter 90, right, and it says right here, starting at verse 4, it says, and the hand of Chittim prevailed over the children of Esau, and the children of Chittim slew the children of Esau 22,000 men, and all the children of Esau fled from before them. And the children of Chittim pursued them, and they reached King Hadad of Edom, who was running before them, and they caught him alive and brought him to the king Abianus of Chittim. And Abianus ordered him to be slain, and King Hadad of Edom died in the 48th year of his reign. And the children of Chittim continued their pursuit of Edom, and they smote them with great slaughter, and Edom became subject. Underline that, subject.
Oh, I think that's interesting. I'm gonna type that down. That's very important. I think I'm gonna type that down right there. Okay. Wait, it was, hold up. It was ancient book of Jasher. It's Jasher chapter 9. Chapter 90 verse. Chapter 4 through Jasher. I ain't got time to turn my words into fancy words, so like, make it appealing to the eyes. I'll do that later because that'll take too long. So like, changing in different, text. I'll do that later. So I'm gonna do Jasher 4 90. That'd be 4 through 10.
So it didn't say they became one people. We're going to show you in a second. They became subject. Just like we as so-called Negroes became subject to the European colonialists and the European conquerors. We didn't become Europeans. we became subject to the Europeans, right? Now, it says Edom became subject to Chittim, right? And the children of Chittim ruled over Edom, which meant that Edom continued to be a person. It says the children of Chittim ruled over them. Didn't say they became them, right? Brother Watchman reports in that video said that they became one people.
Just mean that they teamed up. Huh? That's all it means, that they teamed up, right?
And Edom came under the hand of the children of Chittim, and they became one kingdom from that day on. Right, one kingdom, not one people, one kingdom.
One kingdom. Remember that. One kingdom, not one people.
Enslaved them just like the Americans enslaved the so-called Negroes. We're still a people.
One kingdom.
But we were enslaved.
Kingdom, not one
Did some
kingdom.
people
Not one.
become born as a result of whether it be slave master raping, or whether it be somebody just selling themselves out because they wanted to make a life for their children, so they slept with the slave master. Right. But did the whole nation become European? No. So the whole nation of Esau didn't become Italian, as our beloved brother said in the video. Okay. So I wanted to show you that, okay? Now, to be fair to our brother, I want to read the chapter that he quoted from, right? So we're going to go to 60, what was the chapter he read? Okay, verse 25. It says, and their king Zepho went at their head, and they made war with Tubal, which is correct, and the islands, and they subdued them. Now notice, we see it again, they didn't become one people. They subdued them. Let's continue. They subdued them, and when they returned from the battle, they renewed his government for him, and they built for him a very large palace as royal habitation and seat. And they made a large throne for him, and Zepho reigned.
All right, y'all. I'm finna do that too. I need to write that down too. That's chapter 6, Jasher, chapter 61. That was 23 through 8. Jasher 61. 23 through whatever.
Not became one people, reigned. He reigned over the whole land of Chittim, which is Rome, right? And over the land of Italia. But how long did he reign? 50 years. So what happened after the 50 years? Did he continue to reign, or did his reign come to a close at the end of the 50 years? Okay? It says he reigned for 50 years. Okay. So this is not a lesson on Zepho or Esau, but this is just to show you that the teachers that have the biggest channels and the biggest followings are the ones that are teaching that doctrine that Esau is the so-called white man, and it's overwhelmingly overpowering the Hebrew camps, because after all, if you got multiple subscribers to your channel that's watching that and you're teaching that, guess what? They're going to follow that doctrine. Why? Because that's all they know. Until they come in contact with a smaller channel like ours, they don't know no different. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, Watchman has
That's what I am, a very small channel.
227,000 subscribers. Okay? And that video, the video that we just posted,
Islands. Who are
22,000 views. It was 2 years ago. 22,000 people viewed that. Okay?
Dang.
All right, now let me show you something here. Okay, I want to add to that, because this wasn't included in the video. Brothers and sisters, we can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I've been saying that for years, right? Been saying that for years. We throw the baby out with the bathwater. Whenever we read texts, we have to put them in the proper context, right? Okay, so Watchman said in the video that he became Italy, right? So if we're going to use that same rule that when a person conquers a nation, they all become one with them, become one people, then Israel went into so many multiple captivities, right? Israel should have become Babylonians.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
That's a good way to put it.
Should have lost their identity.
Nice example.
And
Nice
become
example.
Egyptians in Egypt captivity. Israel went into Assyrian captivity. They should have lost their identity and become Assyrians, right? You see where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah.
So every captivity, Israel went into the Medes and Persians empire. They should have become Medes and Persians. If you're going to use Jasher, right, to point out or to say that because Zepho ruled over Italy, that now the Italian people became Edomites. See how misleading that is? Now I'm going to show you what Israel did. Okay, so if that is the case, if Esau, whoever conquered Esau became a ethnic person based on the captivity, then we're going to show you that Esau should be an Israelite. Okay. All right. You said, brother, what you mean? We talking about Willis. Okay. Let's go to 2 Samuel, right? 2 Samuel. All right. 2 Samuel, chapter 8. And I want verse 14. Okay. Let's start right at 12, right? Let's start at verse 11. Okay. All right. Hold on a second. I learned something new today. This weekend. So let's do this here. All right. Okay. All right. Let's try that now. There we go. Okay. Now, 2 Samuel chapter 8, starting at verse 11. It says, let's go back up. Verse 7. David took shields of gold. Let's blow this up a little bit. Okay, what was that? We took shields of gold. Let's go back a little bit. Let's start verse 1. And after this, it came to pass that David smote the Philistines and subdued them. And David took Meth-Gamma out of the hand of the Philistines. So now, based on his methodology of doctrine that he said, if David smote the Philistines, then the Philistines should become Israelites. Okay? If you're going to use that analogy to say the Italians became Esau, then you should say that the Philistines became Israelites, because after King David smote them, he subdued them. So the Philistines, and David took Meth-Gamma out of the hand of the Philistines. Now, how long did David rule as a king? About 40 years, right? Okay, Zephyr ruled 50 years, 10 years short, right? Okay, so if that's the case, then we should say Philistines are Israelites, because they became one people, right? Under one kingdom. Let's continue. And he smote Moab and measured them with line, casting them down to the ground. Even with 2 lines measured, he put to death, and with 1 line to keep alive. And so the Moabites became David's servants and brought gifts. Oh, wait a minute. So now Moab is not China now. Right?
Moab.
The Israelites. According to that methodology, right? The Israelites, right? So Moab is not China or Japan, Ammon, Moab, but now Moab is now Israelites, because why? They came under the rulership of Israel. So now there are no more Moab people now. They're all Israelites. Right? See how foolish this doctrine is, right? Let's continue. David smote Hadad, Ezer, the son of Rehob, king of Zobah, as he went to recover his border at the river Euphrates. And David took from him 1,000 chariots and 700 horsemen and 20,000 footmen. And David hauled all the chariot horses, but reserved them for 100 chariots. And when the Syrians of Damascus came to succor Hadad-Ezer, underline Hadad-Ezer, king of Zobah, David slew of the Syrians 22,000 men. Right? Now, I'll show you who was in Syria at this time. Right? One of the stock of Esau. Okay, watch what happens here. Then David put garrisons in Syria of Damascus, and the Syrians became his servants. And David brought gifts, and Yah preserved David whitherso he went. So now, I guess the Syrians are now Israelites. Because why? David conquered them, they became under his kingdom, under his control. So are the Syrians Israelites? Okay. Let's continue. Right? And David took shields of gold and were on the servants of Hadad-Ezer, and brought them to Jerusalem, and Beta and Betel-Thai, I think that's how you say it, like Thai food, Betel-Thai, cities of Hadad-Ezer. King David took exceeding much brass. And when Toi, king of Hamath, heard that David had smitten all the hosts, underline this right, he smit all the hosts of Hadad-Ezer, right? Then Toy sent Joram his son unto King David to salute him and to bless him, because he fought against Hadad Ezer, right? And smitten him, for Hadad Ezer had wars with Toy, and Joram brought with him vessels of silver and vessels of gold and vessels of brass, and which also King David did dedicate to Yah with silver, gold, when he had dedicated all the nations which he subdued. So now David's going through, he is subduing all these people. Now, is he making all these people that he subdued Israelites? No, they still have their ethnic nationality. They're just under his government, right? The same thing Alexander the Greek did. He didn't make all the people he conquered become Greeks, but they came under his power. So it's just like America, as we say, right? We are under the government of America. We didn't become Europeans.
Right, that's a good way to put
So
it.
the doctrine that teaches that based off of an assumption is false, right? It is not sound at all in any form, fashion, shape, right? Now, let's continue. Which also King David dedicated, okay, now verse 12. Of Syria and of Moab, the children of Ammon and the Philistines, and Amalek, and the spoil of Hadad Ezer, son of Rehob, king of Zobah. So now we got Amalek in there. Now we got Ammon in there, right? So we got Edomite, Edomite, Moabite, Ammonites, right? Philistines, all the people that ended up enemies to Israel, that partnered with Gomer and his bands, that's what it is, to sell us into slavery. The Edomites and Ishmaelites, Moabites, all the cousins of Israel that were black, just like we are, end up selling us, and we're going to show it to you in the biblical text, into the hands of Gomer, the son of Japheth, right, fulfilling prophecy, right, that Japheth would dwell the tents of Shem. So what happened? Gomer took the stock of Israel, the Moabites and everybody else, out of the land, and they replaced them. They didn't become, Esau didn't do that. Japheth did it. Right? Okay, now. So, Syria, Moab, and the children of Ammon, the Philistines, Amalek, and the spoil of Hadad Ezer, the son of Rehob, king of Zobah, and David got him a name when he returned from smiting the Syrians in the valley of Salt, being 18,000 men. Then he put garrison, here's the kicker here. David put garrisons in where? Edom. Wait a minute. If David put garrisons in Edom, then would you assume, just like you just did with Jasher, that Edomites became Israelites? Would you assume that? Because that's what you did with Jasher. You made Jasher incorrect by making an assumption that Esau became Italy. Right? If Esau became Italy, then we could say that Esau became Israel. And in fact, they have a claim to being Jews or Hebrew Israelites, because after all, they became under under the rulership of David, and David made them to be Israelites, right? We can go further in the book of Maccabees when Hyrcanus, I think it was, made them convert over into the Hebraic covenant, right? So would that make them Israelites, ethnic? No, they're still Edomites that embrace the covenant. They are sons and daughters of the covenant of Yah from another nation that came under the bonds of the covenant, right? So you can't make a people become another people because they were conquered by people. That's crazy, right? That's not sound. That's not historically sound or genetically sound or any prophetically sound. None of it. It's not sound at all. So now when you go back in here, go back in. So he put garrisons in Edom throughout all Edom. Who's he? Dawid. King Dawid put garrisons in Edom, and all they of Edom became Dawid's servants. And Yah preserved Dawid whitherso he went. Right. So they just became servants. That's what happened. Esau, when Zepho ruled over the Italians, they just became his servants. That's all. Now, did some Edomites intermingle and mix with some of the Italians? Possibly they did. But the whole nation didn't disappear, brother.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Crazy. You can't
They act like they just slept with all the white people and just took over everything. That don't make no sense.
Right?
I agree.
You can't make everybody in this nation be a Trumpite, a bloodline descendant of Trump, because we're under the president Donald Trump. So you can't do it that way. So it's misleading and it's not informing. Now, with that said, oh my goodness, I didn't intend to go that route, but that was heavy right there. Let me give myself a hand. See, we're talking about refuting the sources, right? Now, those brothers are quick to use the source, and we're going to show you Jasher doesn't even acknowledge that Esau is a Roman at all. Matter of fact, just from looking at Jasher 90, we see that Esau had his own kingdom against the Romans. So how could he be the Romans if he had his own kingdom?
Yeah, and they fought against the Romans. Yeah.
Right?
I remember the book of Josephus talked about that.
All right. So, refuting. Now, what I want to do is, I want to go back in here. 2 weeks ago, we did a lesson. I had some attacks from the camps.
Yeah, boy, I know that.
But anger.
I've been attacked myself.
Anger. No scholarship, just anger, right? So I want to show you this here, right? This brother named DG the Levite. Okay. See if you can see this here. Okay. Let's see if I can zoom this in. View. Let's see. View. Zoom in. Let's see. View. Let's do it this way. All right, hold on a second. Good gravy. Okay. All right, one more time. There we go. That should do it. Okay. So he says, yep, an old house Negro, talking about me,
Probably trying to defend. They always accuse us of trying to defend white
his
people.
master, right? So, because we're explaining to you that Esau is not the so-called white man, Esau is black, but the so-called white man are from the stock of Gomer, not Esau, and they're in prophecy. We can show it to you. Top permits. Getting a little heavy hand here this morning. Let's see if I can move it from here. All right. Okay, so he goes back and he says, the Negro worrying about his master, their so-called scholars know the so-called white Caucasian people are the Edomites, right? So we're going to look at a source, right, that they use in a minute, okay? He says, now notice, he's just throwing out his feelings. He ain't giving nothing, he's just throwing his feelings out, right? He says, here's a quote from Charles Wiseman. Charles A. Wiseman. Who is Esau, Edom, page 5, right? So he's quoting from Charles Wiseman. Now remember, we already butchered the origin of Esau is wrong. You gotta go back and watch that video. It started with the Talmudic, Judaism Talmudist. After the fall of Jerusalem, they said Esau was wrong. That's where it has its origin. And we showed you in the Jewish Encyclopedia where they acknowledge the origin of that teaching. And that it has no genetic connection. That it has no historical connection, because Gomer is up north, right? Where they come from. Israel is down south, way far away from the Black Sea. Okay, now, so going back, he says, page 5, Esau was firstborn of Isaac, and thus was heir of birthright, derived from the direct lineage of Adam to Noah. Thus Esau was racially an Adamite, a Semite, and a Hebrew, a racial stock of the white race. Now, let's look at that and see how foolish that sounds, right? This brother think we dumb.
White man does not have Shemitic blood.
Quote something, brother DG the Levite. Maybe you're not a Levite after all. Maybe you're DG the I need somebody to teach me. Because you obviously need a teacher, because anytime you're going to talk about the Gentiles being wicked and evil, but you're going to quote them as your source of infallible proof that Esau is the white man? And listen to the statement he said in the book, right? I'm not going to pull the book up, but I'm just going to put, because I actually had a book and I could put it on the screen, but let's just go with the comment he says. He says, Esau was racially an Adamite. Okay? Now remember the teaching we did about Esau, the same name, Edom, right? Is the same name for Adam, right? So, in other words, if Esau is a white race, then Adam was a white man. In his own source. In his own source, he said Esau was racially an Adamite. Oh, this is laughing. So the source you throwing at me is saying that Esau was an Adamite, meaning he was the first man. Right? And connects him to the first man. Red. So if the first man, Adam, was red, which means he's the so-called white, if Esau is so-called white, then Adam is so-called white based on your source that you threw at me.
Yeah, you got me red brown like King David, not red white. Right. Because it's Admoni, like King David was described as Admoni.
Thank you, Gino. All right, now. So, he says he was an Adamite, right? Okay. Where was that? He was an Adamite of the racial stock of the white race. Now, then I threw something at him about DNA. See, this is why the camps teach against DNA. Nathaniel, Bishop Nathaniel, whenever he says it, it's the law. Right? It's the law. So when Bishop Nathaniel says something, those people are under his wing so bad, if he say, don't watch a YouTube channel, they won't do it. Until something goes wrong, and then now all of a sudden they start looking out, and they're like, wow, brother, I'm glad I found your channel. It's witchcraft. See, IUIC work witchcraft. You know what witchcraft is? Control. I can control you by controlling what you watch. Right? You don't have the right to watch enough. You see, where is he at on the screen? You see that there he is right there. You see Nathaniel looking at me, right? He know I'm telling the truth. It's witchcraft, brothers and sisters. Manipulation, control. If I tell you don't watch something, right, it's because I want to control your mind. I want you to only believe what we teach here. We the only ones that got the truth, brother. Don't listen to them. You heard he said. He's sarcastic, but he means that. That's witchcraft, manipulation. That's the spirit of Jezebel. That's what Jezebel is. Jezebel is not about wearing makeup and jewelry. Jezebel is about control, witchcraft. The person who controls your mind, controls what you think, controls what you believe, right? The Most High made us a free moral agent. You got a right to choose what you put in your spirit. You want to turn me off, you can turn me off, because why? You reserve the right to choose, right? You come back, give an offering. I say it because people always tease me about having my screen with the contributions, but yeah, you go to the restaurant and eat. You go to the grocery store and buy food, but yet I'm feeding food in. Now he's asking for money. Shut up with that foolishness, you dodo brain. All right, let me go now. So he attacks the DNA. He says, "See, you're really lost." DNA? Question mark. You're really lost. The so-called white man came up with that DNA. Okay. Hypocrisy. Why? Because he's quoting Charles A. Wiseman, who is a so-called white man, right?
You don't believe him on the DNA, but you're quoting the white man, huh? Yeah, that don't make a lick of sense.
You can use the white man to prove your point, but I can't.
Yeah. Contradiction, man. Hypocrite. Hypocrite.
Wicked Israelite. That's what you are, wicked. Right? Now, he says, the so-called white man came up with that DNA, which is not biblical. Okay? Esau being a white man is not biblical. You saw your teacher, IUIC, said the Bible said Esau will go to the moon. We can't read that nowhere in the text. Where in the text does it say Esau will go to the moon? You made a private interpretation out of that. It don't say he's going to go to the moon. You made an assumption. You made a private interpretation of the prophecy. And you teach it as infallible proof that Esau is the white man. Right?
What you bringing to the table, brother?
Man. So he hates the DNA. He said Christ warned the Israelites about these devils. Okay? They go to sound biteology. I got a new name, right? Sound biteology. That's what it is. Sound biteology. All right? Repeat after me. Say sound biteology.
Sound biteology.
That's what the camps do. They use sound biteology. They take a verse, here, there, everywhere, and they make a doctrine that I coin now, sound biteology. Sound biteology. That's what the brother's doing. Look, John 10:10, Revelation 2:9-3:9. Okay, we already know what 2:9-3:9 says. Then he goes back, like I mentioned from the previous comments, read the following books written by their own so-called scholars. So this brother's being hypocritical by telling me, don't listen to nothing that the so-called white man made, but now you refer me to the so-called white man's book. I don't get it, brother.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
I don't get it. You gonna attack the DNA because it came from the so-called white man, but to support your thesis, you're gonna use their sources as infallible proof, right? That Esau is a white man? Can I trust you? Can you be trusted in teaching Yah's people if you're going to be a hypocrite and use the so-called white man's tools to support your thesis, but when somebody else uses the same tools that refute or rebut that false narrative, now all of a sudden I'm using the white man's tool? Brother, we got a problem, right?
You in danger, girl.
You in danger. That's right. So he quotes, Who is Esau by Charles Wiseman. We already read that quote. Facts and Facts by Benjamin H. Friedman, right? Which is number one person who teaches that, right? And 3, we're not ignorant to the 13th tribe off the Costa. I was one of the first ones to bring the 13th tribe book out back in the early 2000s. Me and some other Hebrew teachers.
Dang, he admitting he was wrong.
Way back. Myron Fagan.
Dang, dude, that's what takes a lot of strength.
Way back, brother.
Admit when you're wrong.
Way back to the
that 12 tribe chart is false. Ain't no way the sons of Spaniards are Israelites. Try to make that make sense.
And we're gonna show you some stuff too to prove that even he disagreed with your Esau's the white man doctrine, right? Okay, then we got the Jewish Talmud. Oh, what? The Jewish Talmud? How about that? Look, he even includes the Jewish Talmud. So then he said, you and your followers can go to hell with them. How about that? Wow. Wow.
Just a second.
You supposed to be Israelite priests? And you telling another Israelite and other Israelites that are supporters of this channel that they can go to hell because they disagree with your doctrine? Right. Carol liked it. Carol soundbite ideology. That's right. Right. So this brother, he goes into attack mode because we disagree, because we are destroying that false doctrine right now. I want to try to look at my notes because I got a lot of stuff that I'm not going to be able to get to today. Okay. So let's see if I can do this here. All right. I'm gonna read my notes and just kind of flow. Okay. All right. So now, recap. Bishop Nathaniel is one of the prime leaders right now that continues to uphold to his camp Esau's a white man, right? And his thesis is Ezra. That's his hook, line, and sinker. Ezra's Esau's the end of the world. Esau's ruling, and use sound biology. All of those verses. The earth is given to the hands of the wicked. That's Esau. Okay. You still haven't proved that Esau is a white man. You use Ezra's and Red as your basis that Esau is the white man. Okay. Now, so that is what you call, we covered that already, that's what you call private interpretation, right? Now, we just went over the little book, Keys to Heaven. Okay, now, it's the little book, Keys to Heaven, and the Bible by Lubbock Larson on page 186. He breaks down the version of the camp's doctrine on Esau. So this is where we're going to go next, right? I want y'all to get ready. We're gonna go in deep, and we're going to show you who Esau, we're going to actually show you the judgment, because he made a statement that Esau will be ruling to the end till the Messiah return. That's not true. We're going to prove it to you it's not true, right? Okay, now, so let's go to this link here. You know what? I didn't even have my, hold on a second. I got to open up my what do you call it? Dashboard, okay? I'll open my dashboard. Just give me a second. I don't know how I didn't do it. Okay. All right. So I can give you this link because I want you to have this in your library. And tell the brothers, all the brothers who want to challenge the teaching, tell them to explain this stuff here. Okay. Ask their camp leaders. Ask the camp leaders to explain this, right? Okay. Here's the link. Okay. So click on that link there. We're gonna go there together. And this is page 186, right? We'll start at page 186, right? And let's bring this in here. Let's make it one page. And let's full screen. And so the reference is Keys to the Bible in Heaven by Ludwig Larson, okay? By Ludwig B. Larson, okay, that's his name. All right, now, so this is page 186. Under chapter 40, the description of the 12 tribes. Right, let's see if I can kind of move this over to the side so you can see, because I'm kind of, let's see, hold on a second. Let's bring this over here, okay. Y'all bear with me a second here. Okay, let's see, there we go. All right, now it won't be in the way. Okay, all right. Description of the 12 tribes. Description of and classification of the tribes is a topic by itself and worthy of detailed attention. We will only give the lead traits and general description of the tribes. The 7 tribes of Israel is illustrated as the European nations, and Judah is the opposition within Israel. Let's say that again, right? So he says, let me slide this over some more. Okay. Let me go some more. There we go. Okay. All right. Never mind the background. Okay. He says the 7 tribes of Israel is illustrated as European nations, right? Okay. So isn't that what we do? And this 12 tribes mythology, right? We do the exact opposite of what they do, right? Europeans are the 7 tribes. So-called Negroes, Native American Indians, Panama, Guatemala.
Yeah,
right?
Spaniards. Sons of Spaniards.
Right? Those are the Israelites. They're saying that the Europeans are the Israelites. All right? And Judah is opposition with Israel. Okay. Now, so we showed you, right, who Judah is according to their estimation, right? Let me bring it back up on the screen. Okay. Okay. Here, let's keep this to the side so we can refer to it as we need to. So Judah, right, is German, right? According to this chart. So Germany, according to them, is in opposition with Israel. Okay? Let's continue. Okay. The tribes as a class of people did not begin until the time of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And from the time of the splitting of the tribes, the first actual dividing of the race took place with Esau and Jacob. Esau goes south and becomes the father of the southern races.
Wait a minute.
So He says that Esau goes south and becomes the father of the southern races. Watch what he says now. Who are the races he become the father of? India, Arabia, Turkey, Africa, and Mexico.
There go your Spaniards.
36 degrees, which represents the race of Edom.
Okay, I'm gonna leave it right there.
India, Arabia.
All right,
Turkey.
y'all. I'm gonna end it right there. It's gotten real interesting right there. He's getting into the the Spaniards and stuff, and how like with the Esau thing, that it just shows you that ain't no way that Spain is the sons of Spaniards are Israelites. But all right, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. I just want to say thank you guys for watching. Remember to live every day in victory. And, of course, here in the Victory Music, Victory Fanfare. Till next time, dudes and dudettes. And don't forget to hit the like button, y'all. Until next time, dudes and dudettes. And we are.